Buckle up, people, there's a new footballing league on the horizon, and it's ready to take down the usual suspects like the Champions League and the Premier League. No, don't worry, it's not quite as offensive as the Super League, but Tottenham also still aren't invited to this one either. Ballers League is a new announcement from the likes of KSI and iShowSpeed, as well as some of the most iconic footballing legends the game has seen. It aims to pit former professionals and potential street footballers against one another in a unique type of football. It's going to the UK and the US, and it features a lot of names that you are gonna know. But I thought I'd sit down and try and work out, is it actually gonna be any good? Just what is Ballers League gonna do for football? Let's be honest, lads, I'm just jealous. If I had two functioning knees, right back for, there's only 6 players, I don't know what positions they're even gonna use. If it wasn't for my anterior cruciate ligament conundrum, I would be backup goalkeeper, probably, maybe, I don't know. Do they have like an under 23s team? On the 26th of November, the likes of KSI, Mini Minter, Toe Jizzle and Chunks, as well as Sharky, posted this on their Instas, and it featured a lot of footballing, you know, promotion as well. An advert with the likes of Gary Lineker, Micah Richards, and Alan Shearer featuring in it, plus a ton of others, and it kind of gave me a crossover vibe of like Masters League, which you used to see on like Sky Sports back in the day, where like teams would turn up, like Arsenal, for example, would turn up with a team of former Arsenal players, usually based in England. The same then Aston Villa, Birmingham, all these teams would do the same, and they'd fight out across a tournament. It was kind of like a mix of that and Gerard Piqué's Kings League, which incorporates a lot more social media aspects and some more current footballers as well over in Spain. Now, when I saw this, I wondered what the crossover would be in terms of the footballers and the YouTubers involved. Well, it turns out Chunks is going to be presenting, makes a lot of sense. The likes then of Simon, Toby, Angry Ginge as well, and then JJ are going to be acting more as managers. Meanwhile, the US edition has iShowSpeed in more of a coaching role as well. Can you imagine him in actual training sessions trying to show ex-academy graduates the ropes?
What was that, bro?
I mention ex-academy graduates because basically the way this is going to work and the players that are going to be involved, it's going to incorporate mostly footballers in regards to the actual players here. That includes former professionals that have retired, free agents, as well as futsal players and academy, you know, players that maybe didn't make the grade. Trials will be held in Manchester and in London to decide the teams, of which there'll be multiple fighting out for the championship. So iShowSpeed will be coaching actual footballers in America, bruv. If I walked into a training session and iShowSpeed is holding the bibs, I'm walking straight out the door again. Speed will be lost for words when he looks over to Mr. Beast for guidance when legends of the beautiful game ask him what formation he's planning to run. The kid's gonna be lost. So long as he's not teaching anything to do with offside traps, we should genuinely be okay. Otherwise, he's gonna have Hansi Flick rolling in his technical area. To be fair, off current form, Kylian Mbappe probably gets into one of these teams, to be honest with you. Fucking hell, he's offside again. Poor Speed, man. He'll be left confused, realizing that he's a manager and he's not actually allowed to sub himself onto the pitch when his team are 2-1 down.
Oh, put me in. Put me in.
Now, the only other person that has actually been confirmed for the US version of this kind of tournament, I guess, is Ronaldinho. Of course, former Brazilian legend. Really, for me, one player that made me fall in love with football from just like an actual skill set perspective. I don't know if he'll be falling in love with this concept when he's been barked at by Speed for over 25 minutes now. Plus, things could get a little bit sticky for Dino when he arrives at US border control and pulls out his Brazilian passport, and then his Paraguayan passport, and then his Colombian passport. But the only thing more illegal here than Ronaldinho's documentation is the fact that I don't actually get to see some of these YouTubers playing alongside the footballers as well. Now, I do realise that's what stuff like the charity matches are for. But the Beta Squad charity match, otherwise known as a zombie apocalypse last year, and then we obviously have had the Sidemen charity matches for a number of years now. That's where we tend to get to see, you know, actual creators playing as well. But it would have been nice, like the original Wembley Cup that Spencer Owen did, to have like a little bit of a blend, maybe even just a couple getting out onto the pitch.
Watch that, watch the arm here. Oh!
But no, instead a lot of these YouTubers and content creators, they're going to be having more of a coaching role. And yeah, more from the screen to the wing.
Get the fuck out of here, nigga.
KSI is going to have an influence on, you know, actual playing staff here from a managerial perspective, all right? Cutting that ball in, little cross from the right-hand side. I'm not going to lie, guys. I feel like JJ giving tactical analysis to John Terry is like me giving medical advice to a surgeon that's currently performing a triple brain bypass on his own mother. Though if it does mean seeing seeing Adebayo Akinfenwa bulldoze his way through everybody in games, then I'm here for it.
Akinfenwa is too good!
But on the flip side, if there's no content creators playing, not only does that mean I've been robbed of Mini Minter getting the best sofa score rating out of anybody, I'm also getting robbed of Vicstar123 playing, so it's no view from me. Speaking of players with similar footballing abilities, it's nice to see that they've created an environment here for Anthony to prosper. Genuinely, based on current form and footballing ability, I reckon Raheem Sterling turns up to the trials for these ones. Angry Ginger will get annoyed though watching on a monitor down by the touchline when Raheem doesn't play the ball into the box.
Sterling, pass it back. Sterling, pass it back. He's there. He's on side. Pass it to him.
Who am I kidding, man? I'm not even sure if he'd get a trial based on current form. At least he can chill down with Chunks on the sidelines and present with him.
I'm not doing this with that on, big man. Be serious right now, man.
My life, my trim
Big man, we're not doing that with that on your head, big man.
These games are being played on indoor pitches, so potentially less green than your average box of Lunchleys. It's more of a futsal environment I think they're going to go for this tournament here in 2025. But someone like Jadon Sancho, for example, he grew up in the cages, you know, he could actually be pretty useful if he's not going to get utilised by Manchester United when he returns from his Chelsea loan. JJ, though, he'll be looking to blend in a little bit when the South Londoner arrives for his trial.
Bond the bacon, man.
Now, I've spoken a lot about the trials here. Let's get into a little bit more of how they work. If you are an aspiring footballer, maybe that's for some reason watching this channel, if you're a futsal player, how do you get involved? Well, they're holding trials in Manchester and in London for, as I mentioned, former professionals, retired professionals, futsal players, academy graduates and free agents of the game to get involved and play in squads. And I assume the best of those trials will get chosen for the various teams that are involved. There'll be 12 teams competing as well, so a wide variety of players should be involved. Good room to actually make it through the trials, especially given each squad will have 12 players. That's 12 times 12, 144, quick maths. So if you are going to play, you get £400 per game. Now, given the trials are held in London and Manchester, if you are a player outside of those two cities and you're going to get the train, that means you'll be leaving with a grand total of £0. The UK version of the tournament will be starting on the 3rd of March in 2025, as I mentioned, with those 12 teams. The top 4 teams in the league qualify for a playoff, which will then decide the champion via like semi-finals and then a final. Now, these game weeks, I guess, will happen every Monday up until like the middle of May, so kind of in line with the end of the Premier League season, and they'll be live streamed on Twitch with Chunks, who is the one who's going to be presenting them for each and every one. So nice to see that they won't obviously be behind a paywall of any kind. It's going to be 6-a-side in terms of playing personnel, though that can change mid-game. I'll talk about the rules in a little bit. And overall follows in the footsteps of the Ballers League that came from Germany, which was set up by former German internationals Matt Sommels and Lukas Podolski. Basically, a very similar vibe in terms of social media. Personalities be involved in the coaching side of things, as well as former professionals. Set up and run every week until someone is a champion over a multitude of teams. They started that back in 2023, and it's now made its way over to the UK, and of course over the Atlantic Ocean to the US as well. But there's plenty of rules as well. It's not like your average football game or even like your average futsal or five-a-side. Each half is going to be 15 minutes long, so you've got 30-minute matches in total. As I mentioned, the squad will be of 12 players, 6 on a pitch at one time. It features MLS-style one-on-one penalties. I see a video of like the MLS in the 90s go viral like every month, where obviously they had one-on-one penalties. They'd receive the ball on the halfway line, charge towards goal, and have a one-on-one opportunity against a goalkeeper where they can either slot it round them, chip the ball over them, go round the keeper, whatever they fancy doing. For what it's worth, as far as footballing inventions are concerned in relation to America and the US, one of their best efforts. I really do like it. I think that the average penalty shootout is good. I think it achieves what it needs to, and I think for building tension, it's a lot better, really. But as a spectacle, I think the one-on-one type of penalty shootout is really, really cool. So I'm glad they've adopted that. And then on top of that, you've also got rule twists, which will be introduced in the final 3 minutes of each half. They can vary. They include the teams getting reduced to 3 versus 3, goalkeepers not being able to use their hands, or goals from outside of the area, long-range efforts being worth double. So it kind of encourages a little bit of carnage and a bit of chaos towards the end of each half, obviously including the end of each game. If you're trailing by 1 goal, you can launch one from outside of the area and, you know, you get me, you're suddenly winning. Cool stuff. I like it. At the end of the day, it's not trying to be football. I don't mind when competitions and tournaments like this do weird and wacky shit like that, because ultimately they're not trying to replace 11-a-side football. I don't mind gimmicky stuff when it's not actually in football. I don't watch Wolverhampton Wanderers versus AFC Bournemouth to see goals from outside of the area count double, or for somebody to try a bicycle kick from the halfway line just because it's going to get them 6 extra goals. I want to see that normally, just for the love of the game. If I'm watching this, I'm watching it for a very different reason than I'm watching normal 11-a-side football. But what it is going to do is confuse some of the legends involved, man. They're not going to know what's going on when everyone's slapping it from the halfway line looking for an extra goal. It's already bad enough. Do you think John Terry wants to work underneath someone of Nigerian descent? Gary Lineker, Micah Richards and Alan Shearer together means a total lack of seriousness, by the way. They'll just be creasing on the sidelines. As will a lack of seriousness be involved in the US version, as Speed tries to bring out 3 step-overs so he can go past Ronaldinho in training. And speaking of Brazilian legends, I know for a fact Pele is going to want to come down back to earth so that he can enhance his goal-scoring tally in this tournament as well. There's apparently the possibility of bringing current footballers into the mix as well. As I mentioned earlier, they would obviously have to be free agents because this does coincide with the normal Premier League season or just general European campaign. But I know the German version wanted to or have had Alicia Lehmann feature before, either as a manager or as a player. I think they've had her as a manager before and she won it in 2023, but she hasn't been a player yet. The crowd will be losing all composure as she walks on if she does join the UK version. Why the hell is John Terry barking from the sidelines? And as I said, I was kind of hoping that a lot of the legends would actually feature. Again, the former professionals kind of tag within the trialist criteria does mean that you could get some big names actually playing in this too. I would love to see Luis Figo playing a little bit, man. That would be so sick. Robert Pires getting amongst it. Jens Lehmann being an absolute psychopath in between the sticks. But what it does mean is, I suppose from a coaching perspective, Freddie Ljungberg can at least now double his tally when it comes to his managerial exploits. At the end of the day, the Sidemen have stayed relevant because they do a lot of different things and they do them very well in terms of production. You know, you always have very kind of flawless production these days when it comes to charity matches and when it comes to any other big events that the Sidemen are doing. So them being involved realistically should be good. Chunks is a sick presenter, so he should be classed for that when it comes to the Twitch side of it and actually just the overall front-facing broadcast. Hopefully he's got some help. I don't know whether they'll hire other people to do presenting, like you've got, I don't know, Big Zoo did stuff, was it, for the charity match? You got Munya Chihuahua, who was a presenter or commentator, I think, for the Beta Squad charity match. People like that might work pretty well. Obviously, maybe a couple of footballers as well they can get in as pundits here and there that don't work on Sky Sports and that won't be taken on weekends covering, you know, the football that's going on. I just kind of hope that they can get some pretty big names into play. I think that would be nice. There'll be enough in terms of social media presence when it comes to content creators down on the bench. I assume they'll be used quite a lot when it comes to the broadcast, to interview and stuff, but it would be really, really cool not to just end up in a situation where you've kind of got, I don't want to say this, and I don't mean this in like an offensive way, because I would do the same if I was looking to make a name for myself, but I hope you don't get a crazy amount of like try-hard former academy graduates who kind of make it a little bit more of a stale experience. This is something for the entertainment, right? When the guy who made the German version of this, his name is Felix Stark, right? He's just an entrepreneur from Germany, okay? He kind of said that this is like the future of football in the sense that it's here for the entertainment. We're not just going because we have to support our team. We're going because it's going to be something that's going to enrich your viewing experience. It's going to be fast and frenetic. So it does need to have that element when it comes to the playing staff, when it comes to the people that are actually involved in playing. Otherwise, I might as well just be watching futsal, to be honest with you, with like it getting some endorsements from some YouTubers. So I hope they go along the line of actually making the people involved kind of interesting and entertaining from a content perspective in terms of the football too, whilst also having a blend, again, of some really good, underrated potentially footballers that have escaped through the net, that weren't given a chance in an academy, and also a couple of former professionals that are big names too. At the end of the day, it's all going to be about the blend and how it comes together, but overall, I'm excited for it. I'm definitely looking to tune in, because even, you know, some of the former professionals they've got are big characters. But let me know what you think down below, and who would you want to be involved, either content creators or footballers alike. Who would you like to see playing in the Ballers League when it starts next year in March? That though is going to wrap up today's video, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also become a member to support the channel to the best of your abilities, I guess. Shout out to the members, they're on the screen right now. You get lots of perks, including early content. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.